Welcome, Diecast fans. I'm Tom Spanners-Watson.
And I'm Frank the Euro Gibbs.
And welcome to the business end of Season 2.
That's right, it's been 3 months of epic racing, and we're going to start the run to see who is going to stay on till next season. Last season, it was Munted that made it through. Who's it going to be this time?
This week, we start with the Wannabes. They are going to race through till we find out who is going to go on to challenge the Outlaws next week.
And can I just say, it's so great to see the crowds returning to the canyon. The whole place is absolutely chocker.
And those long-time viewers will probably recognise a couple of the original Outlaws there as well.
It's really nice to see the crowds coming out to support the Wannabes and the Outlaws, because everybody knows this is one of the hardest competitions to take out, and it really all comes down to this final session. You could have had a rubbish season so far, but if you can pull it through in the last round, you can stay on till next season.
And speaking of staying on, it's nice to see so many of the Brit classics around as well.
Oh, there's defo some crowd favourites like High Roller and that Ford Capri as well. That thing was crazy quick. I'd love to see it race again. And of course, we got the Bogans back finally.
Enough preamble, you came here to see some racing, so let's have a look at who's up first tonight.
So in Tier 1, we've got Betsy and Hucker, and then we've got Bombs Away versus Shipwrecked. And first up, we're going to put Bombs Away, driven by Mama Bear and Raiden, up against Shipwreck, driven by Scooter Roundwell.
So two of the slowest cars kicking us off tonight. Neither driver has had a good season. Can they pull it together tonight?
Well, Scooter is a very seasoned professional, so I think he's got a better shot, although Shipwreck... Oh, there it goes.
Shipwreck goes down. Oh, no. Mama Bear out in front. All she has to do is stay on the wheels. Whether she crosses a finish line or not, she is going to take the win and move through to the next round, surprisingly.
Well, I suppose, mate, somebody had to win, but crikey, it was not particularly impressive, was it? Old Scooter just comes in and rolls right over. I suppose he gave the Bogans a bit of a show, but Mama Bear takes the first win and posts a better time, 16.946, smashes your previous time, moves through to the next round. Now it's going to be Betsy, driven by Captain America, going up against Hucker, driven by Lily the dog.
Just looking at their best times, both drivers seem pretty even, but I think Captain America's probably got it over Hucker at the moment, with Lily the dog getting distracted too often on the track. Although they're side by side in a bogan alley, Betsy just squeaking out Hucker, and Lily loses focus going down that second straight. That opens up a huge lead for Betsy, and Captain America takes the win easily.
Lily did manage to get herself under control and finally crosses the finish line, but well done Captain America, and he even sets a better time for himself with a 13.866. He's looking pretty good, as he's now going to go up against Mama Bear and Raiden, driving Bombs Away.
And looking at the differences in their best times, you've got to figure Captain America is just going to walk away with this one. Mama Bear and Raiden have had a shocking season, and I just don't think they've got it in them.
They definitely seem to have had the spinny spins going down the track quite a bit, and Captain America already opening up a big lead.
He pulls wide and goes into the sidewall, allowing Mama Bear to catch up, but he gets it underway and races away, just opening up another big lead. But Mama Bear's found some speed, and here she goes, and I think she might have taken that one.
Well, slap me with a wet fish and call me Susan. I didn't think she had it in it, but look at that speed right at the finish line. Just nipped right on past Captain America and takes an incredible win.
And she also beat her previous best time. I think she saved it all up for this final series.
Maybe she has been playing possum all this time, although I'm not sure why you'd do that.
Well, it's time to find out who she's going to be racing. Will it be Twinkle Toes driven by Harry SP or Moving Violation driven by Rusty Bird?
Russ, of course, was a late starter in the series, and even with that enormous donk sticking out of his bonnet, he still hasn't managed to clock up a win.
Well, he does have inside lane advantage, but Twinkle Toes manages to get around the outside with some fancy driving there. And Moving Violations, looks like he put the power down too soon coming out of that second dog leg from Bogan Alley, and Twinkle Toes getting spun around. I'm not sure if that was showing off or if he got a bit loose, but either way, Twinkle Toes takes the win. Harry SP moving on to challenge Mama Bear.
Now, Twinkle Toes does have the better time out of the two cars. As we go to the head-to-head, we'll see that Mama Bear's best time 15.414, Twinkle Toes 14.356, but she's already proven she can take down a faster driver with a last-minute overtake over Betsy.
Well, we do know that Twinkle Toes is no slouch, but Mama Bear into the lead early. Twinkle Toes goes sideways. Unfortunately, Mama Bear spins around at the exit to Bogan Alley, and it looks like she is walking away with this one. In the background there, I don't know if you saw it, but Twinkle Toes went up on the sidewall somehow.
Was it not Twinkle Toes in his initial run where he actually jumped off the side of the tree?
Oh, that's right. I'd forgotten about that. He did indeed. But Bombs Away now moves on to challenge the winner of Tier 2.
Do you need a rim job? Then come on down to Jim's Rims, Tires, and Body Shop. We guarantee you'll go home with a smile on your face.
It's time for the other side of the table to have a crack, and this time it's the Shisha driven by Juan Fabuloso going up against Blue Thunder driven by Strike.
While Juan hasn't been overly fabuloso this season, he is quicker than Blue Thunder so far.
And there he goes into an early lead, goes high into Boganelli, flips over. Looked like he might have even collided with Blue Thunder, but Strike keeping the car, well, it was under control till just then, keeps it under control and keeps going. All he has to do is cross the finish line or at least stay on his wheels and he'll take this win.
I must say I had high hopes for the Shisha there, got out to an early lead, but he did put on a great show for the Bogans. Check this out. Comes in, bounces off the sidewall, and then it almost looked like he tried to go over the top of Strike. Let's have another look and a little bit slower. He comes sliding down, gets clipped by Strike, and bounces back up, hits the roof of Blue Thunder, and then ends up turtling in Bogan Alley.
Well, we do know that those Mercuries are solid. We had a number of them in Season 1 that did very well, and Strike now moves into the next round. So let's take a look at the next two challenges.
So next up, we've got Rusted driven by Marco Polo going up against Toxic Vindicator driven by King Jester.
And looking at both of their best times, a pretty even race here.
Rusted has definitely had a stronger performance previously, but the way Mama Bear and Raiden did tonight, I wouldn't write anybody off.
Well, whilst I'd agree with you, Frank, Rusted's really going to have to blow it here. He has just opened up a massive lead. Toxic Vindicator nowhere to be seen, and he takes a nice clean run all the way to the finish and will chalk up the win. And it looks like he's cracked out a pretty spectacular time for him as Toxic Vindicator crawls over the line.
Yeah, that's a cracker of a time from Marco Polo. This is definitely the time to pull out those quickens. That was a 13.546, so he's going to move into the next round. And let's see who's going to be going up against Limbo. Will it be Furious Firebird driven by Lord Pruitt or Unicorn Claw driven by Chickadee?
I'd probably give this one to Unicorn Claw. Chickadee has performed better overall, was on the list to begin with. Lord Pruitt hasn't really fired. But then in saying that, here he goes out to an early lead.
Oh mate, these races tonight are harder to pick than a broken nose.
While Lord Pruitt has a good lead, he's heading into Big Kahuna Corner where all the action happens. Here comes Chickadee, but unfortunately unable to get around, hands the win to Lord Pruitt.
So that means the Furious Firebird Lord Pruitt will be moving into the next round, and he is going to take on Demon Preacher driving Limbo. But first up, it's got to be Strike driving Blue Thunder, taking on Rusted driven by Marco Polo.
So Marco Polo with almost a half-second faster time, but he's starting in the outside lane. Will that make a difference?
The track is so long and there are so many tricky corners, it really is anybody's race.
Well, they're tied to begin with through Bogan Alley, but it looks like both drivers getting a little bit loose out of that second dogleg. Rusted's getting spun around, and that lets Strike just walk away with this one.
Strike certainly seems very focused on taking the win. Let's just go back into Bogan Alley. These drivers were super close right here. You see Marco Polo tucking right in on Blue Thunder's bumper there. Both of them just kind of clipped that outside lane, and unfortunately Rusted looks like he may have put his foot on the gas a little bit too heavy, a little bit too soon. He wasn't quite lined up, and Blue Thunder walks away with that one.
So Strike now moves into the next round, and he will be facing either Limbo driven by Demon Preacher or Furious Firebird driven by Lord Pruitt.
I've got to put my money on the Furious Firebird here. He's over a second faster than Demon Preacher, and I just think that's going to make all the difference.
Well, we're about to find out as they get underway. Lord Pruitt out to an early lead out of the tunnel. Looks like Limbo just hanging back slightly as they exit Bogan Alley. Season opening, and there he goes. Demon Preacher with a spectacular overtake there, just waiting for his opportunity, and sneaks right on by Furious Firebird.
This has been a very popular spot for overtakes this season, coming down the Petrolhead straight, and Demon Preacher putting on a masterclass there. Goes pretty hard into Petrolhead corner, but keeps it together and takes the win. Nice bit of driving, Demon Preacher.
So Limbo advances through, and he will be taking on Blue Thunder driven by Strike.
Now, just like the last matchup, Demon Preacher definitely behind on the best time stakes, but he just proved that that doesn't really matter. He can take down anyone.
Well, Strike has been driving pretty well tonight, and he seems very focused on getting through. And there he goes out to a massive lead early on, left Demon Preacher in the tunnel, and it looks like Demon Preacher has pulled up at Bogan Alley. Strike is going to have to cross the finish line though, because Demon Preacher is on his wheels, so that would force a restart, but no worries there as Strike takes a clean win.
If you check out the replay here, you can see the exact moment where Demon Preacher just gives up and pulls up to Bogan Alley for a beer with the boys.
I guess he figured there was no way he was going to catch up to Strike with that sort of a lead that early on.
Plus, having a beer with the Bogans is always fun.
So we are at the business end of the wannabes. Whoever wins this race will go on next week to take on the Outlaws and see if they can make their way to the top of the list and survive the season.
Now, in terms of a winner here, I think this is going to be tough. Normally, I'd just go straight to Blue Thunder. He's faster, he's been driving well, but Mama Bear has pulled some tricks out tonight and really shaking things up.
Well, Strike driving Blue Thunder out to an early lead. He is laser focused. Nice line through Bogan Alley, keeps it clean through Petrol Head Corner, and he has left Mama Bear and Raiden in his wake. And he will be moving on next week to take on the Outlaws.
Well, congratulations, Strike. A great bit of driving tonight, well deserved. And go and celebrate hard tonight. You've got a week to recover before you've got to come back and face the Outlaws.
There's 11 drivers, only one spot. Who do you think's got what it takes to take it out, Frank?
It really could be anybody's mate. There's some great drivers. I mean, even Munted could come back and take out Season 2, which would be really impressive. But next week, first up, Strike's got to get through Phoenix's Revenge, driven by Tuco, so keep an eye out for that one.
Mega Consumer Products released their 10X AI this week, and it immediately took over all key systems around the world. The first effect was a major stock market crash where all stocks dropped to zero, causing global panic with most businesses crashing overnight. People lost access to the internet and were unable to check their social media feeds, which immediately led to protests and violent clashes on the streets because no one has any idea what to do without the internet.